I didn't realize we were coming right in right there. I was going to ask who else is playing. I hate to even admit that I'm playing the game, but I downloaded Pokemon and I am playing it.
Well, let me ask you a different question.
Okay.
How much are you playing?
That's the problem.
Is it a casual or are you...
It's casual, but the problem is, like, I realized, because I figure, it's my job. I have to figure out how it works. And yesterday I went for a run and I decided to bring it along with me, and I went to the park. And I was like, I'll test it out here. And so I'm walking around and I got completely engrossed in it. And I finally looked up and I realized I was at a park and there was a woman with her toddler playing on a swing set, and I had my phone aimed directly at them the whole time trying to find a damn Pokemon, and then I dropped it down and realized and apologized profusely and ran away. That was
so. I was gonna say all horrible stories start with I went for a run and ended up in a park.
And there it is. Yeah, thankfully I ran away. Yeah. Hello everyone who is tuning in right now. This is Trends with Benefits, our weekly podcast where we gather a round table of experts to talk about the tech topics of the day and whatever else is going on. We want to hear what you guys want to talk about too. So if you're live watching on YouTube right now, pop in there, let us know your comments, let us know what you want to talk about, and we will get to those as we go through. So let's see who we've got on the show today. To my right.
Hello. I'm Nick.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I have a last name, but I don't want to say it.
But it's a secret. It's a secret last name, so we don't want to.
Sounds like he's taking over the conspiracy role.
I'm challenging you for that. Dan.
Oh God, we've got a conspiracy battle.
I saw someone in comments refer to Conspiracy Dan recently. So a podcast.
It's sticking.
Yeah.
Good.
You're building a rep on the site.
It's kind of funny because every podcast I do, not necessarily even here last night, Tim tried to say that he's the conspiracy guy, and I had to.
Did you shut that down?
Put him in his place. Be loud and proud.
And to Nick's right.
I'm Brad Burke.
Hello,
and
Brad.
I'm not shy about my last name at all.
Okay.
Even though it's terribly spelled.
Oh, yeah, I bet you get that all the time.
Yeah.
Is it B-U-R-K? Is that what everybody...
B-O-U-R-Q-U-E.
No, I mean, is that what everybody spells it
people
as?
say like Borque or Borquay or they just stumble over it. Yeah, they try really hard.
Borquois.
Do they only say bork you when they're mad at you?
Yeah. And I say, no, Borque you, sir.
And on the end, it's been a while since you have been on the show.
I disappeared for a while.
You did?
Yeah.
I can't say where you were.
Neither can I.
It is Dan. Conspiracy Dan. Which that is. You are getting that rep. And by the way, in the podcast, I'm playing that sounder right under there.
Conspiracy Dan.
Conspiracy Dan.
Conspiracy Dan now with one more tooth.
That's right.
That's another conspiracy right there.
Is there a little microphone in that tooth or a camera?
Where did he get the tooth from?
I don't even want you to guess.
Maybe your dentist put it there and you don't know. You ever think about that one?
All I do, I just woke up one day and it was there.
Whose tooth was it before?
That's not weird. That's how most dental work is.
It's kind of like when it disappeared.
All right, well, so we've got a bunch of things that we're going to get to today, but we have to talk about, this is the biggest story out there for this last week. And I got to say, last week's episode, if you listen to Trends with Benefits, started off with me making fun of Brad for playing Pokemon, and I didn't understand anything what it was, and now I'm running around at parks with my phone up, and it is huge. This is everywhere, what Pokemon is doing, and there's some aspects of it that are kind of annoying. I mean, just some of the things that have happened so far. There's been car accidents. A woman found a dead body because she was using Pokemon and like jumped a fence into a reservoir and found one. There's these teenagers that were robbing people by setting up next to a Pokemon site. All kinds of things going on. You'll see it everywhere.
Some people found a gun in a park.
Found a gun by walking around with Pokemon playing? Yep. See, there's so many different things going on. There are conspiracy theories out there, too. Where
I don't believe that.
I've noticed it, too, just going to some of these sites where everybody's now like, see, this is the government trying to control you and teach you.
Or know where you're at.
Or know where you're at.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Which, okay, do you have some theories on this, Conspiracy Dan?
I've just heard, and I obviously it's a huge data play, right? But they know where you go.
Yeah. They're tracking you.
They know where you're walking to. They can actually maybe start controlling where you go by
by guiding you different places.
Yeah.
Well, imagine this though too. You're holding up the phone too, so if you just had access to that feed from every single person's phones at any given point, you could just like be watching.
Well, look at how
hundreds of thousands of live video feeds all across the nation, like CCTV network that you just turn the switch on and it's just smartphones of people wandering around.
Not just video, but audio too. And they can like tie that into getting you to go places like people aren't paying attention where they're going. Obviously,
No,
like
clearly.
the guys that walked off a cliff like earlier today or whatever.
Oh, I didn't even see that one.
And, so like people are going places that they wouldn't normally go to, like a park.
Yeah.
And then if they can get you somewhere by
Luring you
a
in.
Pokemon of some kind, you may all of a sudden realize you're somewhere that you didn't want to be.
Yo. Whoa. Think about that, everyone.
And then they can catch you. Gotcha.
I wish we had the mind blow thing to
Cell
play right
doors
now.
drop down all around you.
Little do people know that they're the Pokemon.
You're the one being caught.
Yes.
And then they'll fight you in a gym. Well, part of it, in the technology-wise, it doesn't seem like it's that huge of a step, but it kind of is because it seems to be introducing AR, like augmented reality, to the masses on a scale that nothing's been able to do yet. And I think a lot of people are kind of starting to see that. And even Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, I said that right, didn't I? I was afraid I was going to mess that up. I think I got that. I'm just giving myself a little high five.
Just hope you don't have to do it again.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do it again. I said it once. I'll just cut and paste that. Satya, I don't know. So he was talking about how this is going to be great for the Hololens, getting people used to this kind of activity, used to you holding up your phone to it. Which, if you think about it, I mean, just wait till you can get this kind of thing in glasses, where you're going to be walking around and playing these kinds of games.
Well, and somebody pointed out too that there's somewhere in the documentation for Pokemon Go, there's a big section about Google Cardboard.
Really?
And it just basically has the same Google Cardboard disclaimer that you see on any of those other, random VR apps, the Street View and stuff. And it just is no explanation of what that might be or when it is, but there is some sort of
But it's probably going
cardboard
to come to
something
there.
yeah.
And I keep telling people, as long as Microsoft doesn't screw it up, people ask me like what I think about VR, and I go, I think VR is cool, but what I'm most excited about is the HoloLens, and I think this is a prime example of people not understanding really how the HoloLens can have an impact on people, like in an entertainment way. That everybody keeps thinking, education or something like that.
Right.
But this is a prime example. If you could go around catching Pokemon with just using your hands and not holding your phone up.
Just tapping the side of your head and shooting a laser at them or something.
Well, I mean, even the HoloLens, I think you can just hold your hands up and do things. You don't have
that's
to
true.
Be,
It can
you don't
register
need a
that.
controller. Yeah. So.
All right. Yeah, that is true. I mean, just the way that
Be
they
like,
can
just like this.
you choke out a Pokemon.
That's how I battle.
It's not fair, but I win. Well, that is what he's talking about. Now, one thing with the HoloLens, he said that they still want to stick more with industrial and educational aspects of it, which I think they're missing out if they're not developing some kind of a game.
Microsoft.
Yeah. I mean, you have this huge. This is a perfect example of a very basic AR game. At least ostensibly when you're playing it, it's just layering some cartoons over Google Maps or over your camera, and the abilities that they could have, like this whole market, and they're just going to say, nah, we're not going to go after the gaming market.
Well, they don't have Pokemon.
They don't have
Maybe
Pokemon, but
that's
they can. But I mean, you would think they'd be able to come up with something else. I mean, is Pokemon itself that
Halo.
big of a?
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Walking around on the Max, playing
Halo.
Halos. Well, we'll see what happens. And now, of course, they're getting ready to monetize it in a bigger fashion. It's rolling out in Europe right now, and they are going to make a ton of money off of this once they introduce. They already have it. I mean, now once they start even monetizing it more
Through the marketing, business marketing, and things like that.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. So that's the problem.
Ending up in places you didn't realize you wanted to go to.
Yeah.
Or maybe you didn't want to go to.
Yeah.
I've been at the Starbucks for 6 days.
I can't find my way
Where the
out.
hell is the Squirtle?
Where am I? Mary's? I don't know if I like this place.
No, I'm catching Pokemon.
What are you doing here? I followed the Squirtle.
I'm not filming. All right, so Pokemon Go. Let us know if you guys are playing it, what your thoughts are as you're going through this, and again, hop into YouTube. Let us know what you want to talk about and give us your comments. All right, let's go on to the next topic here, and this is just so random. Mainly, I just wanted to say this title, and it's about some scientists who are using drones to fire medicine-covered M&Ms to help fight Prairie Dog Plague. There we go. That is it.
And ferrets. It's the black-tailed ferret or something like that?
Yes, and so ultimately it's to save ferrets.
Yeah,
So,
because the the prairie dogs are the food source, and they also reuse their tunnels or something like that. The ferrets do, yeah.
That's exactly it. Yeah, it's this endangered ferret, and there was a picture of a ferret on the screen. That's the only picture I give Dan. That's what a ferret looked like, in case you needed to know.
I totally missed it.
Maybe we can bring it back up. I don't know. But, so, yeah, there it is. There's a ferret again.
That thing is so mean looking.
I know, dude. I had a buddy who had a ferret in college, and that thing was a little bastard. I did not like it.
I don't think I could choke him out.
No. So, that's what they're trying to lure you into.
They smell too.
They do.
Poor pets. Poor pets.
But apparently they're awesome against prairie dog control.
Yeah, they're really good at that.
Yeah.
So these again, yeah. There's fair. Okay, we got that.
Wait, first off, who knew that ferrets ate prairie dogs?
I did not know that myself.
I didn't eat.
Wait, they eat them or they use their tunnels?
No, they eat them and they use their tunnels.
Yeah,
yeah.
Ferrets are bastards.
You know, it's like those movies where bunnies like attack your neck. That's pretty much a ferret.
Yeah.
You know how much control they must have, self-control, if you have one as a pet?
To just not
like just gnaw
on
in
you?
Ugh.
Yeah.
But it could anytime it wanted to. That's why, no, I'm not going for the ferret.
Don't leave a baby around a ferret. That's all I got to say.
Let me fool me once.
It is a really interesting story, though. I mean, the whole fact of using M&Ms that have the antibodies or whatever it is against the plague, and then they use M&Ms, and apparently prairie dogs love
M&Ms,
butter covered M&Ms.
Yeah, so it's they have this plague, and I guess it's kind of based on the one that humans get in some way, but it's affecting all these prairie dogs. So yeah, the M&Ms are smeared with vaccine laced peanut butter, and they've set up these drones to fire them off in 3 directions every 30 feet, and they just fly it out there and fire these M&Ms out. And I can try to hit prairie dogs, I guess.
See, and people said drones were useless.
Right? Exactly.
Now you're saving the prairie dogs.
It's kind of like Microsoft with Hololens. They had no idea the concept that they were building.
Right?
Yeah.
Here it is. This is it. This is what they've been waiting for. I'm just thinking about this. If they can start using drones to like fire these things, it just made me think about if I was a kid and I had that ability, if I could set up a drone and, huck things down on my friends. I mean, I had the friend's older brother who used to always shoot us with BB guns. And I was thinking, like, man, that would have been great if I would have had a drone where I could just shoot things down at him. Kids these days are going to have all the best toys.
There's that guy that built a drone with a pistol on it.
That made me go too far.
Takes a BB gun a little bit.
It's taking it to the next level. Yeah. So that is one thing, though, just adapting these drones for that, which is another source of innovation, which I guess is a lot of what we're talking about today is innovative tech. And
you know what I loved about that story? How they talked about how the school or the scientists, whatever, had come up with, like, it's the most sensible way to do it, because if we just took truckloads of M&Ms and left them in there, it might, like, attract other animals.
Right.
Like, I mean, I thought that was amazing, the most basic ideas that they were, like, actually coming up with, and they go, it's not a great idea to like dump a bunch of M&Ms here, because then the prairie dogs may not actually get to them.
Yeah, but instead we'll set this drone up and just fire M&Ms at them every 30 feet.
So the drones, they're autonomous then?
The drones, I don't know if they're controlling them or if they are autonomous. That's a good question.
Because I would think it would be great to have just like a robot flying around shooting candy everywhere without anyone controlling it.
Right?
That could be like a lot of fun at a party, just spraying.
And you could totally tie it into Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Right? You could do a lure.
That's it.
And have a drone there.
It all comes together.
Yeah.
There was that guy who was using a drone for Pokemon, set up his phone on it, and was just flying it around, collecting everything, and all these people were getting pissed off at him. It's not in the spirit of the game. Anyway, there's some news on drones. It's just total random topics here today that we're going to get through. And again, if you have some things that you want to talk about, go ahead and pop those there into the chat. Okay, somebody just said, what does AR stand for? Augmented reality. That is what that stands for.
Yeah, I think that question is going to become less and less common thanks to Pokemon.
Yeah, and that's when I agree.
It's going to be the universal touch point for AR.
Mm-hmm.
Will people even refer to it as AR anymore?
What do you think they
what
would
else
call
will
it?
they call it?
I don't know.
The Pokemon tech?
Augmented reality is like something people I think have a hard time understanding what it really is. Because if you look at Pokemon Go, it's basically Google Maps. It's not like Google Street View, or like it is using the camera to show a Pokemon there, but it's not like that's how you're navigating the game. So
yeah, but I think it's a really basic example of AR that people can wrap their minds around. Like previously, the way to explain it was always like Terminator vision. Like that was the last good example that everybody knew of something like augmented reality, which is like that Terminator view when he first drops to Earth and everything is red and like little, text comes up over everything explaining the world around him. That was like the last good
easiest
example.
way.
And it's like sci-fi from 1991. Now we actually have a real game that we can point to that's like, hey, this is a technology you've used before.
Yeah, that's a very basic idea of what this is.
RoboCop 2, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
RoboCop 2.
All right. Well, moving on here in our list of topics. This one I wanted to bring up, and I don't know if you guys ever saw so artificial intelligence. There was an AI movie that was written. They fed this AI machine a bunch of sci-fi scripts, and it came out with a script for a sci-fi movie, and it's I think about 10 minutes long. They actually filmed it, and it makes no sense. It's just all the actors playing the parts that are written for them. Like the table is overturned by the ear on the corn, and
It's
then
the dude from Silicon Valley is in there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the main guy from
Why
Silicon
would they
Valley.
make that movie?
Just for fun, just to see it. If once you watch it, you'll see what it is. Like,
Okay.
I got through about 3 minutes of it.
it gets kind of unnerving because they do play it really well.
Yeah.
The actors are really good, but
You're
what
like,
they're
am
saying.
I going crazy? For
Yeah.
not understand this?
What's
Wait, so
happening
how
here?
do you convince like a real actor, not like just like a local actor, but somebody who's actually known? How do
I
you
have no
convince
idea.
them to participate in something like it's science with art?
Probably.
Like,
I mean,
how do you do it?
Well, I know Thomas Middleditch does a lot of like
Yeah,
comedy
that's his
stuff,
name.
and like he did like Comedy Bang Bang a lot, the podcast, and like he's just sort of in that community, I think.
So he was just having
Like
fun
that.
with it. Is probably what
They
it
did
was.
one with Harry Potter too, right? Like
And
they
that's-
took the first 4 books and
Yep, and that's exactly it. So that they just did that, and it spit out. I don't know if it's a whole book, but it was a script for Harry Potter based on the 4 books, and it's complete nonsense. But it's interesting seeing how they're going along this, and what the possibilities are. I was kind of curious from you guys, from a journalistic standpoint, like what you think about this.
well, I got a tech angle to that.
Okay.
Have you ever tried texting people with autocorrect
Yeah.
or autofill, where you just that's all you do is you just hit
Let it fill it
the
in.
middle button and then just blah 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 blah. Yeah, I think that's pretty much along the same line, right?
Have
Yeah.
you tried that?
Oh yeah, it's fun.
How far can you get with it?
Actually, it can do like semi-predictive text where like if you start with the and then you just keep choosing, it makes like people will be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But it's still it's interesting.
How it
Because
fills it out.
There's no storyline, right? Like a movie or Harry Potter where people are like, why did Dumbledore want to get back at Harry through the script where it doesn't make any sense?
Yeah.
Right?
Like some of the lines here up. Part 2 is, Ron didn't even upset her little ingredients on the toilet in a group of third-year girls last year. Highly bushy and then burst away from them quickly. Thought you were all right, he said, Harry grinning at Harry.
In the mirror.
It just goes on.
That sounds creepy.
It's creepy. Okay, yeah, it's 5 parts to it. So it's a whole first part of a book that
So
this
it's
thing
just like
was
all
about.
non sequitur. Not terribly impressive AI.
Some of it can kind of make sense, that I guess you could kind of see it, but then it'll just throw in those random things that like Harry said to Harry, that's like that doesn't fit correctly in there.
So at the end of the day, we're talking about tracking people wherever they go and luring them.
Yes.
Autonomous drones feeding people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now coming up with an AI that can speak to people.
Conspiracy, Dan.
Where's this all
String
going?
those all together for us, Dan.
Have they already taken over?
All right. Okay, somebody's asking what movie was it. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the movie, but I'll find out and I'll put it in there here after this. So let's go on to this next story, since this is all leading up to your conspiracy theories, and this is fully going to capitalize on that. So last week we talked about the Nightscope K5 security robot, and this is an actual robot that is being used in somewhere in Silicon Valley. There's a picture of it if you're watching on YouTube.
I think it's like the San Bernardino Mall or something, or
something like that.
Something,
or Stanford Mall.
Shopping Center.
Stanford Shopping Center. That's
Wasn't
what
it
it
a
is.
Japanese company that came up with this?
There's a Chinese company that's using them. I'm not sure if this was the.
I think Nightscope is U.S. based though, right? The
I
company that made this
believe
one.
so. There's some Chinese security robots that actually tase people that are out right now, and they demonstrated those. This one
Just
doesn't.
for no reason?
Just probably. Yeah. You looked at me funny. But this one does not have the ability to tase as of now. However, it can recognize recognize faces. It can recognize all kinds of different things and license plates and cameras. And it's supposed to not ever actually touch a person or hurt a human. And we were talking about it last week about how this thing, it looks creepy. If you've never seen it, if you're listening via podcast, go to digitaltrends.com. Just go to this podcast or type in K5 in the search bar and you'll find it. It looks creepy as hell. And the company was trying to say, no, it's there to help you. It's there to keep people safe. Then, I kid you not, this last week, this robot at the mall ran over a toddler. The toddler's okay. Let me preface that.
As long as it didn't fall on the toddler?
It didn't fall on the toddler, but it came up, knocked this toddler over, and ran over its leg.
Ooh.
Now, the toddler is okay. The toddler just ended up with some scrapes.
This is, if I remember, this is a 300-pound
It's
robot.
a 300-pound robot. So
And it's not like that weight is dispersed across a big, wide surface area, right?
Little toddler.
Yeah.
Little toddler leg.
Yeah, a little toddler leg. I mean, the kid is okay, but that is...
Can I start off real quick?
Yeah.
I think they should change their name.
From the K5?
No, from Nightscope.
Nightscope?
To Nayscape.
Nayscape.
Yeah. Or Noscape.
No.
Because you're not getting away from that thing. It's gonna run over your leg.
It'll take your children. So that's the update on this thing. I just think it's so funny after they just come out with all this press talking about how safe it's going to be for you.
So this thing has all manner of cameras facing every single direction. So there's footage of it running over a toddler.
Yeah, somebody's got
someone has footage of a 300-pound
of a
robot
kid falling over.
rolling.
How fast does this thing go?
It doesn't go very fast. Let me see if it says in here. It's
How does it stop you other than maybe like a super long taser?
I believe depending on what
It rolls over your leg.
Yeah, that
what it
toddler
does.
was trying to steal
I was
something.
going to say, was the toddler committing a crime at the time? Was he assaulting someone?
true.
Was,
Didn't have a seatbelt on before he got out of the car.
maybe the robot is the hero.
He stole from the bulk bin.
It did say
gummy worms.
that video did say predictive.
Oh,
That toddler was definitely thinking about
Toddler was
something.
committing thought crime.
that kid's gonna steal M&Ms.
Way to go, Nightscope.
Probably not for at least another 15 years.
Didn't nail him now.
Good thing it can't kill people yet.
Right?
Yeah.
So there we go. That is the Nightscope K5 update that we've got. All right, finally, just this last story. It's just so random all today. Since we did start off talking about Pokemon, I just want to say how excited I am for the Nintendo announcement. With the Nintendo's knocking it out of the park this week with the NES Classic, which is amazing. A box with 30 games in it, 30 of the classic games that you can play. I think you can use like a Wii controller too, or buy $10 add-ons. It's like going to be like $60, and it's got Excite Bike, which already that makes me very excited.
That was definitely
Excite Bike's
Yeah.
that's got to be the premium one right there. Is there any of all the Nintendo games? Which one would you want to be in there?
Contra.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Contra,
Contra.
yeah.
Yeah.
I used to play that so much. That game's great.
Okay.
That and Joust. I actually
Joust was
I'm on the
great.
leaderboards over at Ground Control across the street from us in Joust. I love
you?
that game. Yeah,
Contra's really effing hard though.
it's so hard.
Right.
I think it would fit really well though. I think like modern gamers who like haven't played it would be really like totally punished by Contra and would love it. I think it could be.
Or they
a
would
big
give
hit
up
right now.
after like 3
Yeah.
minutes. Yeah.
Well, you have to know
I only
the
have
code.
2 lives. If I get hit once, I die. Like, what is this?
Well, you never play without the code though. Do you know what the code is? Can
You
remember
don't
the
tell
code?
them that though.
Oh yeah, you can't tell
Yeah,
them.
you gotta
Noobs.
beat
Yeah.
the game on 3 lives.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty much impossible. But
At least even get like 3 screens in
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you call it screens, but the scrolling,
Yeah, whatever you would call that. I'm not sure what it would be. All right,
that little
Contra's
waterfall
vertical
where you got
section,
one
yeah,
guy
you
up and
gotta-
one guy on the down on the
Yeah.
bridge and
Yeah.
that game was good.
so hard.
All right. And now we're off on Contra. All right, I don't know where we go from there.
I love that. I love that thing though. I saw that. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god. Like first I was like, oh whatever. Like it's just like maybe using cartridges. And then I read the story. I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
cow, this
30
is
games
awesome.
preloaded on it. Like
Yeah.
that's a good way for them to reuse these ancient licenses. They're not going to do anything else with. Like,
And I think it supports a Bluetooth controller, right? I think the controller
It can
Bluetooth.
control, I believe, Bluetooth or
What's
a
that
Wii
flap on the
controller.
There's a
I don't know
flap
if
on the
that
front that
actually
looks like
does
the cartridge.
anything.
That'd be awesome
You know
if
what?
it was the charger for the controller.
There's a place to plug in controllers yet.
Because they've got this, but the actual flap. I'm sorry, I know via podcast we're just staring at this picture here. I'm not sure what they would have that for that part, but either way, it's awesome, and I will probably. Oh, Mega Man 2.
Man, if he could
damn,
do
okay,
Netflix
now I'm
as
really
well,
excited. Yeah, throw in
total cord
Netflix.
cutter's dream.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, there we go. That is just so everybody knows that is coming out. Let us know what you want to talk about, too. Send us an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com, and let us know what topics you want to cover, and we will make sure we get to those. We do this show every Thursday live at 2:30 on YouTube, and then, of course, the audio podcast is available on Stitcher and iTunes and everywhere else podcasts can be found. So definitely check it out. Let your friends know. Tell everybody, subscribe, and we will see you next week with another episode.
So didn't they announce the NFT